little bit of an introduction into WordStream. We are a pay-per-click search marketing company, and we are experts. We've evaluated over 50,000 AdWords accounts and over $15 billion in ad spend. So a lot of the data that Larry will be sharing with you today is based on that analysis. And we are here to make your online advertising easy, both AdWords and Bing campaigns. And we were recently promoted to a premier Google AdWords SMB partner, which is really exciting. It means that we are here to provide you guys with the highest quality, the highest service, and the highest results. This webinar is part of our PPC University, which is a free online resources to learn everything about search engine marketing. And you can see that URL there, wordstream.com/learn, maybe after the event to get some more great webinars and white papers. And our WordStream speaker today is Larry Kim. He's our founder and CTO, and he has been doing PPC for 13 years, which is incredible. So welcome, Larry. We're super excited to have you here today.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
And also joining us are the email marketing pros, AWeber, and Eric Harbison is their Chief Marketing Officer. He'll be speaking today, and I'll let him tell you a little bit about their company and the amazing things they have to offer.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining today. Excited to have you here and getting through this webinar with you. Quick thing about AWeber, we're actually a 16-year-old company, and we like to refer to ourselves as a 16-year-old startup. We were one of the first in market to deliver email automation for small businesses. And we still do that today for over 120,000 small businesses encompassing the blogging community, ad agencies, entrepreneurs, and pretty much anybody looking to market their business. At AWeber, what makes us special is our focus on customer success. And from allowing folks to contact us 7 days a week and talk to a live email expert, we really deliver tools and solutions to let customers succeed, not just in email, but also within their entire digital marketing landscape. So excited to be here today. Just quick things about me. I have the marketing operations here at AWeber. I've been here for about 2 years. My experience in marketing is about 20 years. A lot of that's been on the agency side. I actually owned a paid search agency a couple of years ago, so I'm very familiar with paid search. I'm very passionate about the power that can provide for a marketing campaign. I just happen to love checklists, and you'll see that coming through in this webinar to allow people to just really take some actionable tips from today and not just implement them right now, but give you the power and the ideas to implement to make your campaign successful. So happy to be here.
Awesome. We are so glad to have you here, and I am so thrilled that you love checklists because the slides make it great to remember the things you've talked about today and work as a cheat sheet. And so we want to kick it off with a poll question so we can learn a little bit about you guys and tailor our content for you. And you can see that question here, and it's what is your experience with paid search with PPC? Are you here doing some research? Are you a newbie, less than a year? Intermediate, a couple of years, or are you a power user like Larry and Eric, 4 or more, 10, something like that years? So we've got results coming in. Looks like the majority of you fall into the first two categories. So I'm going to close the poll, share those results so you can see where we fall. So it's about 48% doing research, 40% are newbies, and the rest of you guys are here for some power tips. So thank you so much for sharing that information with us. Last reminder, we are recording. I will send you the slides. There is time for Q&A. Hit us up with the hashtag email marketing, and over to you, Eric.
Great. Thank you, Kate. So let's get into it. So this section I just want to touch on is when it comes to paid search advertising, let's break it down into very simple, tangible sections. And want to share with you kind of who should be doing advertising in paid search, how should you go about it, not just to leverage the power of paid search, but also to leverage how email and paid search work well together. And we'll get into some tips on that. But then the very important question, especially for those that are starting out, is often how much do I need to invest in paid search? because obviously it's 0 to 100,000 is typically the answer you may be getting, but we'll give you some ideas on how to approach that and start getting more involved and more active in paid search. So let's first start with the who. And again, I like to keep things very simple, and simple to the point of, like I mentioned about checklists, does this checklist apply to you? And I think in most cases it may or soon may apply to you if you're just getting your business started. But paid search really is working for anybody who has a product or service that they're looking to get more awareness of or get more people to try. And this could be an online business, this could be a Main Street business, but really if you have a product or service, then you're in good shape. And then the next point is basically, do you have customers that either use your product and service, or do you have customers that you think should be using your product or service? So it's not just about having a customer base, but it's also having the need or the interest to increase that customer base by being more appealing to those that are doing searches in any of the search engines. And then lastly
Eric,
is, do you have...
Will you click that allow button at the top of your screen so the Google Drive goes away? Perfect. And I'll click back on your screen. Should go away. Yes, awesome. Thank you. It's just a little distracting. Perfect.
My bad. All good. Thank you. And then third is, are you a business that has a blog or a website? Is there a means or a destination that you have to drive people to? And if you think about it, that blog or website is going to be kind of your intermediary, your ability to start building a relationship with those that are doing searches in Google or Bing or any other search engine. So if you can say yes to these three things, or almost say yes to these three things, then you're in good shape, and investing in paid search is for you. Then the next question, or the next section, is basically, well, you may need more reasons to understand why to get involved in paid search. And if you think about one of the values of paid search, and this has been something that, whether you're spending $50 a month or $50,000 a month, you have control of what you're spending. So there's a very controllable on-off mechanism to paid search that lets you be very cautious or be very aggressive, but have the ability to stop things and have control over your marketing spend and your marketing efforts. Another reason why is just you think about search and ways that you use search. Another reason why paid search is so impactful is you're targeting people that are basically raising their hand to learn more about your industry or your specific brand or your competition. So another reason why paid search is very impactful, very powerful, is you're able to target potential customers and those that have an interest. So again, when I think of search, I think of active seekers, people raising their hands. And then lastly is, who doesn't like to get immediate results? And when I say this, what I mean is paid search allows you to get started quickly. It allows you to test quickly. And if proper tracking in place, lets you see those results immediately. And results could be defined as somebody even visiting your blog or website. It could be results as somebody purchasing a product, or like we're going to talk about in a little bit, it could be the results of you building a deeper relationship by capturing an email address. So again, if you're thinking, or if you already know the reasons why for paid search, here's some great reminders that you can take with you. So how does paid search and email work together? So I talked about kind of, at a high level, paid search being a great way to capture those active seekers. But let's bring email into the equation. So email, I'll be the first to tell you that email certainly is not dead, and it's a very impactful, very powerful way to connect with your customers and even those that aren't customers yet. So when you start to combine these together, there's some pretty powerful methods that you may want to start testing if you haven't started testing already. And as I mentioned in my early intro, I like to cook, and when I think of paid search and email, it's kind of the chocolate and peanut butter connection where individually they're great, but together they're even better. So when it comes to paid search and email, this is a quote that I use not so much verbatim, but I use it as a mindset when it comes to investing in paid search programs or programs to grow your business or grow your email list. And for those that don't know, Seth Godin is a famous author, has written tons of books. And this phrase is something I like to share with team members, clients, anybody who's getting into marketing for the first time or looking to improve in their marketing efforts. Is just think about when it comes to marketing, and there's a whole book on this, but I break it down into these three sections. It's when you're going to communicate with a customer, a potential customer, it's focus on the anticipation, delivering the anticipated, personal, and relevant messages. And if you think about those three things, those will help you get the best results. And the last point that he makes here is just give them the people that want them. And it's not about forcing people to do things they don't want to, but if you're able to focus on anticipation, being personal, and being relevant, then things tend to work out and perform at or above expectations. So think of this as a mindset. Before you go into your next planning session or you start to launch another campaign, maybe start with this quote and make sure that the components you're building are aligning with this. So how does this translate? So when I think of this mindset, it translates to me when it comes to paid search and email into what I'll call a blueprint of making sure that I'm being as successful as possible. So we talked about the point of being relevant. So the flow here is basically anyone's going to be doing or could be doing a search. And again, active seekers looking for something that could be relevant to your industry, your business. And those active seekers are looking for something relevant. And the next step is they'll get to a landing page or your home page where the anticipated or the expectation is going to be met, where you're creating landing pages or content on a landing page that is matching the search that's being made. And that could be where you're giving them something to download, more information about you, something to purchase, but it's matching, again, ensuring that the search that's relevant is being met with the anticipated result of I'm looking for X and I find X on this page. And then the most important thing I think to share is just that personal angle at the end. So in this scenario, where you're capturing people that are looking for a certain information or something to download, they land on the page where they get that information and they have to put in their email address. Well, what that lets you do as a marketer is to segment the information that you get. There's tons of ways to segment it, and that's probably a separate webinar, but when you segment, it allows you to become more personal. And going back to that quote, when it comes to permission marketing, having these three things aligned is going to let you have the greatest success. So the personal nature of that segmentation for the emails that you capture is making sure that you're sending the right message. And in this example, it's sending a right follow message to a designer versus a blogger in this case. So the blueprint, just keep that in mind when it comes to mapping out your programs. And I can almost guarantee you that if you think through it this way, it'll allow you to be more successful with your end results. So when it comes to paid search and email working together, the other theme or thing to keep in mind, and I'm sure everyone's heard of this and they've seen results or seen research, excuse me, is just the fact of mobile. And not just mobile, the devices, but mobile search. And the percent of people, probably your customers, that are doing searches on a mobile device. And this is more to illustrate the fact that mobile search is growing significantly in the last couple of years. I mean, here's some stats showcasing that just the number of searches has increased in the past 2 years, almost 5 times. But if you think of the people that are doing searches on a phone, and this stat is specific to local searches. If you think of just any search, I think it's anywhere between, I want to say, 40 and 50%, so it's noticeable. So specific to our business, it's something that we've been focusing on and recognize that not all that activity on search is happening on the desktop or laptop, and it's catering to a mobile search audience. We'll get into some examples in a couple of slides. But this is just meant to kind of focus on making sure you're aware of the impact that mobile is going to have on your search campaigns. And then this next slide is just showcasing, so the one component is the fact that more people are searching. The next component is this is indicating ad spending. So advertisers, marketers that are spending more dollars to reach mobile audiences, this is just showing that it's a trend that's going to keep on growing. So as marketers, whether you're a small business or a big business, it certainly has to be part of your either your budgeting conversation or it has to be just part of your overall experience. And to the points I made earlier, you think about just being mobile ready. You know, ask that question to your marketing team right now or yourself. You know, are we mobile ready when it comes to all the traffic that's going to be coming or all the searches that are going to be occurring on devices? So here's an example of being mobile ready would be just 3 things to keep in mind. And one is the keyword consistency. So, you know, choosing keywords is very critical to where you're going to be taking that traffic on a page. So in this case, it's, you know, someone looking for email marketing tips is going to see that same consistency of keywords on this landing page, which happens to be AWeber's blog. So there's going to be more consistency between the keywords, more consistency with the content. So again, it's not just the words, but it's what are they saying in context of the page, and making sure that that's consistent with what's being searched for. So, you know, on this page in mobile form are the tips that somebody may be looking for to strengthen their email marketing campaigns. So we have, you know, ensure that there's the keyword consistency, the content consistency, and oh, by the way, going back to the marriage between paid search and email, it's making sure that your ability to capture interest or your ability to capture folks that are interested in what you have to say is making sure that that experience, making sure that form is not just responsive or viewable in a mobile device, but just make it so stinking easy that it's a name and an email, and that's really all you need to start your relationship building and start your follow-up conversations with those folks that are putting that information in. And just another example here, again, keeping in line with best practices or tips when trying to marry your search traffic with the destination. It's a concept that again, I like to carry through in many marketing campaigns, is just the concept of no dead ends. So in this case, you have, you know, someone who may have been searching for information about a company, and then they click on something else that they find in the search results. But at the end of the journey of that experience of clicking, there's a way and there's a nice, you know, simple box to capture information so that conversation can continue with that person that searched for something that may not have been their #1 thing, but it left open a door to continue the conversation. So when I say no dead ends, what I mean by that is make sure that when you're capturing traffic, whether it be from a mobile device or from just a regular search, is give them an experience that allows them to continue the conversation with you. You know, a lot of times we talk about visitors, you know, page visits and just, you know, traffic getting to a site. I think of that as opportunities to start a conversation or opportunities to build a relationship. And if you're just thinking through and having an opportunity for someone to give you their information, that's something to take away from this. Okay, so the question of, sounds great, Eric, but what's it cost? And based on the polls, you know, I'm going to say most of you are kind of, you know, dipping your toes in the water here, trying to figure out the ins and outs. You may be investing right now, but you know, I'll cut to the chase here and say there's no real easy answer or definitive amount, although I'll kind of steer you in a direction. But the how much is going to depend on a lot of things. And when it comes to, you know, budgeting, if you will, or setting aside an investment, one thing to make you feel super comfortable about that as it relates to paid search and email is just the ROI and the results that you can expect. And for email marketing, you just do a search for this stat, and it's been quoted many times, but just, you know, you're getting back $43 for every dollar you spend on your email marketing campaigns. Then take a look across the landscape of all the things that you're doing, and this channel ROI graph shows you of all the channels that are being used by most marketers. You know, paid search is also up there as one that's delivering excellent or good results from an ROI standpoint. So if you're going to pick 2 channels to invest your time and effort into, email and paid search are certainly 2 good ones. So what I'd like to also say is before thinking about spending a dime in paid search, again, I like to have a preparation checklist just to make sure so that you have the best results. Is think about these three things before getting involved, or if you have a paid search campaign running right now, is maybe go back and make sure that these things may be in place, or you're thinking about these things. You can't measure success unless there's some way of tracking that paid search effort. So before spending a dollar, make sure that you have your methods to track. Ideally, it's going to be tracking to something that you can put a number against, but inside of AdWords, I believe there's kind of native tool sets that let you set up tracking, if not within AdWords, through their Google Analytics product. So the good news is that it's super easy to set up, but making sure you have some method set up on how to track and making sure you're tracking your paid search campaigns, kind of step one. Then when it comes to spending is, try to figure out what keywords you want to be targeting to drive to that landing page that you have. Could be your home page, could be a special landing page, but thinking about the keywords first helps you prepare and plan accordingly so you're not doing too much reactionary movement after the test has launched, although that's okay. It's just try to get as much research done in the upfront before investing those dollars. And then, like anything that's going to yield strong return, there's an investment of time required as well. So I like to say, carving out, I'll say 10 to 14 days to run a test. Or if this is your first time launching a paid search campaign, give yourself that window of time to really let it gain exposure inside of Google. I talked earlier about being, very controllable, very manageable, and it is. But depending on your business, the keywords you're going after, you're not going to get the best results by turning on for a day, turning off for a day. So, commit yourself to at least 2 weeks of testing something with the right metrics in place, the right tracking in place, targeting the right keywords from the outset. To have these things in place before investing in that paid search campaign. So just a quick slide on what I call some pro tips tied to selecting keywords, because it's the most grueling aspect, I think, of paid search, but also the most fun. Because really the reality is, if it's your business, your client's business, aside from brand terms, because that's kind of easy, what are some other terms, what they call long tail terms, terms that usually have 1 or 2 or 3 terms into a phrase that best describes what your customers, your prospects would be looking for. So I have a 3 for 5 rule, I call it, and nothing scientific about it other than it helps to open up conversations where everyone has their own assumptions and ideas of what keywords should work. But think about going to 3 coworkers, 3 friends. Ideally, it's somebody who's not in your day-to-day business or doesn't know your business as well as you do. And go to 3 people and just simply ask them for, what 5 keywords would you search for looking for my business? I can guarantee you the results you get. It'll be scary in the fact that they may be very, very similar, but on the flip side, it'll probably give you at least 2 or 3 ideas that you never thought of because you're getting fresh perspective from others. And again, this is something that I've done not just with small business campaigns, but Fortune 500 companies that I work with as well. You'd be amazed at what perspective you get just by asking that question. So definitely try that, for your current campaigns. And then another one often overlooked is just the misspelling of your brand term, and it'll make sense for some brands more than others. But in our case, AWeber, we see a lot of searches done with 2 B's, but we only have 1 B. But buying that term as part of our keyword set helps to make sure that we show up for that search results. And then the last is something that's a native tool that's inside of Google now, and it's the search suggest bar. So another great way to kind of get fresh ideas of, you probably see it every time that you search yourself, but if you use it as a research tool, you'll get a lot of great ideas on where to focus in on, because it'll probably point you in directions that you never thought of. But also that helps lead to not just keywords you buy as part of your paid search campaign, but also will help you determine which terms and keywords to put on your homepage, landing page, into your SEO programs as well. So definitely something to try. So just simply put, how to budget. And I know I talked earlier about it could be anywhere from 50 to 50,000, but here's the reality. The reality is, if this is your first time doing paid search, you're going to need to set at least $50 to $100 daily budget. And there's a lot of mechanics to how to manage that dollar spend per day. But if you're looking at that over the course of 2 weeks, that's going to be a recommended starting point. And then again, you're giving yourself 2 weeks as kind of a testing period, and you're going to be looking at that campaign. Don't worry about looking at the minute, because a lot of people tend to do that, which is fine. But for sanity purposes, just take a look at it every day, just see how it's doing and what's performing. And then the third point is just making those adjustments that are necessary, whether it's keywords aren't getting any searches, or keywords are generating a lot of traffic, a lot of clicks, but not a lot of actions or signups. So there is this element of optimization of these areas that's important to focus on. And I know Larry is going to get into a lot of details around what things you can do inside of your campaign to maximize results. So this is kind of a good segue into that. And that's kind of the wrap of when it comes to budgeting. There are ways to go into equations, and there's a very mathematical ways to go about it. I think given those of you and your experience with paid search, call this a starting point, and then probably or potentially either an information that WordStream has available, or maybe another webinar. Go into more specifics about the mathematics side of how to set and manage your budgets. So just to wrap up here, maximizing your investment when it comes to setting your budgets, and I'll go back to the no dead end, is just think through the experience and give yourself the best chance that if you're looking to sell something, or you're looking just to gain downloads or traffic to a certain page, give yourself the chance to build that audience through email capture. And all I can say is here, there's people searching for your business. They're going to get to a landing page. There's a lot of tools that exist that help you put in an email capture form very, very easily to maintain that relationship. So you're maximizing the value of paid search, but you're also maximizing your opportunity within email marketing as well. So that's the takeaway for there, and that's the section on the who, the what, and how much. And now we'll go off to the poll.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric. This is really helpful, and I really love those checklists myself. I took a couple screenshots. The next poll question that we have for you is, what is a PPC tactic you've tested that drives results for your business? So this is really going to apply for those of you who, like 60% of you that are already doing paid search in AdWords or in Bing. So have you tested changing your offer or your call to action? Have you tested other specific features like site links, targeting based on geography, or a click-to-call button? I'm seeing that most of you have played with changing your offer and call to action and found that drives some results for your business. So I'm going to share those results for you guys so you can see where you fall. And Larry will talk on a lot of these tactics and exactly what results they can provide. So thanks for sharing that with us. And Larry, I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter now.
Great.
All right, you should have access and can share your screen with us.
All right. Kate, do you see my screen here?
We do. Perfect. Thanks.
All right. So Eric had a great kind of intro here. I'm going to just go a level deeper into the nuts and bolts of how to do this in greater detail, starting with setting up your first PPC marketing campaign. We'll do a little bit of more detailed kind of tips and tricks around mobile devices. And then I want to talk about two new types of ads. One is called Gmail ads, and another one is called social media remarketing that I think would be very relevant to email marketers.
And hey, Larry, can you speak up a little bit or maybe put the phone closer because we're getting some people saying they can't hear you. That would be really helpful.
All right. Sorry. Okay, so let's get started here. Setting up your first PPC campaign. This is for the people who've never done it before. So basically, AdWords is a big auction platform. So you're basically going after these keywords, and generally, you're not the only business in the whole world that is interested in the same keywords, and so Google has to run this auction every time someone does a search on Google, like something like 6 billion times a day. They have to figure out which ads to show, in what order, and what to charge different advertisers when people click on that ad. So it's free to see the ad, but you pay when someone clicks on the ad. And so basically the auction is triggered by a search query based on a user, and then as I was saying, Google needs to figure out which ads to show, what order, and what to charge them. It's kind of an unusual auction. It's not just based on price, so this is not just like an eBay auction where like the person who bids the highest bid wins the most prominent spot in the auction. It's kind of this unusual auction where it has multiple factors, not including things like your ad quality as well as your maximum bid. So first things first, I know Eric talked a little about this. First things first, you kind of need to figure out what keywords you want your ads to be showing up for. And so Google made this pretty easy. Like, it used to be very difficult, but now you can just use their keyword planner tool and type in a few keywords and hit get ideas, and it'll show you tons of different ideas to consider to add, and that's a pretty good starting place. And the idea here is just to cherry pick sort of the keywords that are the most relevant to your business and add them into your account. There's another kind of feature called the negative keywords, and so that's a very important exclusionary tool to sort of exclude your ads from showing up on user searches that contain kind of specific words that you don't like. So for example, say you're offering kind of appliance repair, but you're only looking for people who are actually looking to hire someone to do it, as opposed to like people who are looking for free tutorials on how to do appliance repair, or videos on how to do appliance repair. Those words like free, do-it-yourself, etc. training, those would all be very good negative keywords to exclude from your account, so that you don't have to pay for clicks from people who didn't have the right intent behind their search. Then there's this notion of keyword grouping. So what you're going to have to do is take that big list of keywords from those keyword tools and from the brainstorming activities that Eric was talking about earlier. You need to kind of group them together into similar themes. So I have like a couple examples of this, bad, okay, and better. So on the left, it's kind of this is a bad grouping of keywords. Why? I mean, those keywords have something to do with each other. Fixing a fridge, fixing a stove, a washing machine. But it's not great because it's very difficult to write a single ad that encapsulates all of those different searches. Like you'd have to come up with something really broad and unspecific, like appliance repair or something broken in your house, we'll fix it. I think a little better would be in the middle here, where you've kind of segmented the keywords based on the type of appliance. So like all of those keywords like Frigidaire, fridge parts, Sub-Zero, warranty, Fisher & Paykel, fridge, like they all have something to do with refrigerators, and then you could then group those together into an ad group and write a more specific ad that speaks to the pain of someone's broken fridge. And if you wanted to even go take it up a notch, you could group together specific types of fridges. So like like the GE refrigerator keywords could be in one group with a specific ad that really calls out General Electric fridges that are broken and same-day repairs or whatever. So just this notion of grouping together different keywords that are similar in order to come up with a message that resonates. Guys, one of the big kind of pitfalls of paid search for kind of new advertisers is they want to get lots of clicks, but actually the goal of paid search should be the opposite. You actually want to buy as few of them as possible, and only the ones that correspond to exactly what you're doing. So like if you're only servicing like high-end appliances, then you'd only want to pay for those specific keywords. In terms of optimizing your ad performance, we talked a little bit about this crazy ad auction that kind of starts with a keyword, and then Google has to figure out what order to rank the different competing ads. Well, I was saying earlier, it's not just based on your bid. There's this other factor called quality score, which has to do with the quality of your ads. It's basically how often do people click on that ad relative to how often people see the ad. So it's using kind of user feedback, if you will, to kind of judge the relevancy of these ads. And the idea is it's kind of the advertiser who gets the highest combination, like the weighted average of bid times the quality of the ad. It gets the top spot, which is the most desirable because, people tend to click on, the things that are at the top of the list and very rarely scroll down to the bottom of the list. And so higher positioning means more prominent exposure in the search listings and more clicks that would have otherwise gone to competitors. Here's just an example of this crazy AdWords ad auction here, and then the idea here is just showing 4 advertisers going after the same keywords, advertiser 1, 2, 3, 4, and the key takeaway here is that even though advertiser 1 is paying just $2, because if they were able to get a very good ad with a very high relevancy score, they could actually take the top spot despite having the kind of the lowest bid amount, if you will, and just this is a pretty complicated formula, but basically Google rewards you as an advertiser for having taken the time to create one of those nice ads that are relevant to people by providing you with a discount on the cost per click. And basically all you need to know is that the discount that you receive is inversely proportional to the quality of your ad. So the higher the quality of your ad, the less you pay per click. So in summary, this notion of ad quality, or basically the relevancy of the ads, it impacts like the ranking of the ad, like the placement. It also determines how often it gets shown, because why would Google want to show an ad that that no one's clicking on? Because like they only get money if people click on these ads, and it also gives you a nice discount if you have a high quality ad, or conversely a terrible penalty if your ads are poor quality. This relevancy score, it has a lot to do with selecting these specific keywords. Eric talked a little bit about that, and then matching those specific keywords with very highly relevant ads in order to generate high click-through rates. And so here's just the table of discounts, sort of in terms of the quality. If you have a very high quality score of 10 out of 10, that's the best you can do. You'll get a 50% discount on the cost per click. And if you have the worst quality, kind of 1 out of 10, you'll get a 400% tax applied to your ad costs. So just a couple key takeaways here. We're going to have to pick up the pace here a little bit, but basically we just went over the process of creating a sample campaign, picking the keywords, grouping them together using negative keywords, and then so much of it has to do with being picky and just picking the right keywords, not trying to cast too wide a net, but rather just broad enough that's relevant to your business. And so much of the key to success has to do with relevancy and getting ads that are worth clicking on. So I thought it would make sense to kind of give a couple examples of how to write better ads. One of them has to do with using these call-out extensions. So that's where it says #1 authorized, same-day repair available, professional technicians. So Sears is taking advantage of this additional feature to kind of enlarge the size of their ad, which gives them more prominence in the search listing compared to A&A appliance repair who is not taking advantage of these features. Call-out extensions let you kind of call attention to certain key features or benefits of your business. Another one is called the location ad extension. I'm sure you've all seen this. Kind of gives you a link to Google Maps and directions to your location. It's very important if you have physical locations. Here's one called site link extensions. Those are like ways of deep linking to more specific pages within your site so that people can find exactly what they're looking for. And then here's one final one. It's called the email communication extension. It's in beta. You can't get it in AdWords right now, but if you email your rep, they may or may not let you use it. But basically what it is like if you're trying to grow emails for your subscription list on the cheap, you can just have them add this little box and subscribe to your newsletter, and then you get emailed the emails automatically. It's pretty cool stuff. Just trying to wrap this up here. Mobile search ads. Lots of mobile searches happening. More mobile searches and desktop searches even. And mobile search is very different because it has this call button where people can call rather than having to navigate to a website. I think that's very important because typically when you push people to a desktop, like a website, usually the conversion rates are like 3, 4, 5%, like from visitor to lead. So basically, you're killing off 19 out of 20 of them, who end up visiting your landing page, and that's really depressing. So much better to just have them call you directly because then you have them on the phone and you didn't lose 19 out of 20 of them. And we're finding that the calls to businesses are worth much more than clicks to websites. So I think that's pretty exciting. Another reason why you might want to do this call thing, it has to do with the contact rate and the qualification rate. So like as time goes by, you're less likely to be able to get back in touch with people, and they're less likely to be qualified because maybe the pain has gone away or they found an alternate solution. You got to act quick, and the quickest way to do it is in the moment that they have that kind of question or need when they call. And so the hack here to really juice the performance of these PPC campaigns is to force people to call you. So you can make it so that even if they click on either the headline or the call button, it'll just pop up the call number to your business. And that way you can just like get them on the phone, and then you can take down their email address like while they're live on the phone, as opposed to like sending them to a website where you lose 19 out of 20 of them because like a conversion rate is typically around 5%. There's other really cool mobile tools that you should be thinking about. One of them is this kind of time of day bid modification, as well as location-based bid modification. So basically what it means is you can, the value of searches vary depending on what time they're searched on or where they're searching from. So for example, if you have a store in Boston, it's like, then it's not that searches from Burlington or Cambridge are worthless. It's just that they're worth a little less because it's like 2 miles away or 5 miles away or 10 miles away, and so you can bid them up or down according to wherever your location is. Same thing with time-based management. So like if you're like a B2B software company, then I would imagine like 9 to 5 business hours is pretty valuable because you have people in the office to answer the phone, and weekends and evenings might be worth less because no one's there. It could be the opposite for a restaurant. And here's one for device-based bid management. You can kind of bid up or down based on where the search is originating from, like a tablet, a mobile phone, or a computer. And basically, my view is that the mobile devices are generally worth more because there's a little bit more urgency. Like if you're searching for a mobile device, you need something now, as opposed to just leisurely browsing typically. So you can bid them up and down that way. There's a little hack here. It has to do with reflecting urgency in the mobile ads because like someone searching for GE fridge repairs on their mobile phone, maybe their fridge just died right now and they don't want to have all the food melt, and so they need help right now. So you can reflect that back in the ad, and that's sure to do very well. So just a couple takeaways here. Huge value in mobile and things you can do to customize for mobile. It's pretty exciting. Just wanted to talk briefly about something called Gmail ads. So I thought this would be relevant to people who are doing email marketing because when I think about PPC marketing, definitely search marketing is kind of one of the big elephants or gorillas in terms of like size. But there are other forms of pay-per-click advertising, such as advertising in Gmail ads. So like this is pretty exciting stuff. It's pretty new. What if I told you you can send emails to anybody on Gmail, even if they're not on your email list? Isn't that crazy? You actually can. And so here's a screenshot of Gmail, and see that little email at the top of the inbox? It's actually not an email. It's an ad in disguise. So that's very interesting. You can get into the inboxes of everyone. So you probably already believe that email marketing is very valuable. But here's a way to email market to people who aren't on your list. Pretty interesting, huh? You click on that email that looks like an email, but it's actually an ad, and that will bring up your HTML creative, which you can reuse the same creatives that you're using in AWeber as this ad, and we're finding pretty good click-through rates. Like the open rates, it's like something like 10 to 30% depending on the campaign, and I think that's very interesting. the targeting options. Oh, this is pretty interesting. You can't do this on email. Like you can't. I mean, basically Google has all this data on people. Like they know your age, they know where you live, they know all these stuff about your interests, your recent purchases, your jobs. They can even read your email, figure out kind of what words are appearing in your email, and so rather than targeting everybody, you could target like some specific specific job titles or specific keywords showing up in people's ads, recent purchases, that kind of thing. So this is pretty interesting. The most interesting thing I think from Gmail ads has to do with targeting competitor emails. So like say you're a realtor and you're working for like, I don't know, Larry's realtor company, and your competitors are like Coldwell Banker, Remax, and New England Moves. Well, you could make it so that if people are receiving mails from those companies, you could have your little service email show up at the top of their inbox. That's a pretty interesting little hack. Just in 2 minutes here, I wanted to talk about email remarketing on social media. Like I was saying earlier, there are other forms of PPC marketing other than search, and one of the more interesting ones on the intersection of email and social has to do with email remarketing. So what the heck is that? Well, people spend something like 20-30 minutes a day on Facebook, and so wouldn't it be cool if you could kind of reach those people on Facebook as well as in their inbox? And so what you can do is you can take that same customer list that you have and upload, like in terms of the emails, everyone knows that your best customers come from your existing customers, so like you can upload that list and then market to them using ads on Facebook. There's a pretty good, say 50% match rate because they kind of know your email because you use Facebook. So again, what's really cool about this is you don't have to advertise to everyone on your list. You can do some filtering. So like people with certain behaviors, like did they buy something in the recent 60 days ago, or are they like do they have a life event coming up, like a birthday or an anniversary, or certain job titles, or certain income levels. Like there's something like 2,500 different ways to segment audiences on Facebook, and so you can upload your list and kind of cherry pick the ones that you really want to advertise to, and kind of hit them up with ads. And by the way, this works on Twitter as well. So I'm not sure if that's great for your business, but if it is, then you can just do the same thing by uploading a list of email lists. The cool thing about this is it's I kind of think it's a lot like email marketing but paid, and there's sort of these kind of these shortcomings of email marketing, like how it is. It's like if you're running a lot of email marketing, you kind of don't want to always blast it like every day or something like that, because like you're going to get unsubscribes. Well, using people-based marketing in these social platforms, you can unsubscribe from ads. So you're hitting up the same people, getting your message out. You don't have to worry about limiting of the number of blasts. You don't have to worry about unsubscribes. People will. You don't even need people to opt into your list. That's kind of interesting. Like remember, the Gmail ads was you can just target like people with certain interests, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like pretty cool. There's this really cool, interesting fact about email remarketing, and that is the more times they see the ads, the less likely they are to click on it, but the more likely they are to convert. It's kind of like you're wearing them down. Like if they see your ad like 10 times, it's like wow, and they then click on the 11th. Then there's a very high chance that they're gonna convert, and that's really good because this is a pay-per-click advertising, so you only pay for those clicks usually. So that's just a couple ideas. So we talked a little about campaign setup, mobile, Gmail ads, and also the social email retargeting. I just wanted to make sure we had some time for questions, so I was kind of going through that quickly. Kate, do you want to just wrap this up and tell us about the offers and the questions?
Of course. You guys can write down that contact information there in case you have any additional questions that we don't have time to get to today. And I just want to take about a few seconds here to ask if you would like any special offers from us. We really appreciate you joining us today and would love to give something back to you. WordStream would love to offer you an assessment of your AdWords and landing pages if you are currently an advertiser. so you can click one or all of these. We can also give you a demo of our tool that helps you manage your campaigns in 20 minutes a week, which is great for you busy advertisers out there. And AWeber would love to offer you a free trial. I think that is 30 days. Is that correct, Eric? Yeah, I think that is a 30-day free trial.
That's correct.
It is. Okay, great. And then for those of you that don't need any help with your PPC or with your marketing, right there you can click that. So I'm going to leave it up for a minute, and we'll jump right into Q&A. Thanks for going quickly, guys, so we have some time for that. A question for you, Eric, is for AWeber users, are their emails optimized for mobile, and what can they do to make sure that they are?
So for those using AWeber as a platform to deliver emails, optimizing for mobile is the onus of the individual customer. So there is an ability for those to optimize the content inside of there for email marketing. But thinking through this, I think the question I may have misinterpreted. So the question is, emails sent through AWeber's device or AWeber's platform, are they mobile responsive? And the answer is yes. Okay,
perfect. I think that is the question. And I do want to let you all know that we will send you the recording and slides after the webinar. I've got a few questions about that. For both of you, do you have any great keyword research tools to recommend? I know that WordStream has one, and I'll send or has a few. I'll send the link out for that. But do you have any other favorites?
Well, when you do paid search, one of the neat things that you get is you get data on how people found you, like how do people, like, how are they searching for you, and what exactly did they search on, and you can use that. It's called a search query report, and that data will kind of inform where to go in terms of your keyword research.
Awesome. We've got some people asking about their quality score. The question is that they may have a high quality score, yet there are some keywords that cost more than others, obviously. But when do you know if you should be using the recommended bid or if you should be bidding higher? And do the clicks that don't convert, are they still valuable? So can you talk to that a little bit, Larry?
Well, we could do an entire webinar on that one. I think typically what most people do is they kind of in their head have a kind of an economic model, like leads or like emails are worth $20 an email or something like that. Like, that's what I'm willing to pay for a lead, and they try to optimize like whatever that value is. It could be like $100, like depending on what you're selling. Like if you're selling a very high-priced item, then leads like could be worth thousands of dollars. But basically, different advertisers, they kind of have to figure out what do I value a lead for, and then work backwards from there, trying to figure out like which keywords will allow me to convert captured emails at or below my target rate, and then that generally is how you make those types of decisions on which keywords to delete or which bids to raise and lower.
That's really helpful. I have some advertisers here telling us that they tried AdWords before, found that it required too much time to test and track and monitor and all of that, and ultimately didn't feel like the cost benefit makes sense. What would you say to those advertisers?
Well, I mean, I love email marketing, but it is by very nature kind of nurtured oriented, kind of more defensive. It's kind of like you're nurturing the leads on your list that you have, and I think kind of a decent strategy for business growth requires both kind of an offensive component where you're trying to grow the list, as well as kind of nurture the people who are on your list, and like not having that component of kind of hunting out new names would seem to be quite an omission. Anything to add, Eric?
No, I think Larry, you hit the nail on the head there. Just having two sides of a focus when it comes to building your business. I mean, the time component, if it comes down to not having enough time to focus on delivering results, I mean, there's a lot of options to outsource some of that support. And if you can't afford, I mean, somewhere between doing it yourself and hiring an agency, there's ways to find consultants or professionals to do it on a project-by-project basis. I know that's a whole other ball of wax, but those options do exist. Even to do nothing, that's a choice. To try something, maybe if it's when you do have the time to focus on it, or if it's sporadically, I think that maybe doing it with a focus sporadically is better than nothing.
Yeah, and you mentioned that there are tools to help folks out there manage it more efficiently, and that is what WordStream is here to help you in 20 minutes a week, based using the alerts and that we give you and the recommendations that our tools give you. You can manage that more quickly and start to see better results. So if you wanted to see what that might look for you, just request a demo. And we have a couple questions asking where do I go to set up that Gmail ads, the Gmail extensions. So where do I go to set that up?
Oh, Gmail sponsored promotions. It's separate from AdWords right now. It's not in AdWords. It's a separate product, and I would just contact your Google rep to get access to that.
And some folks don't know who their Google rep is. Do you know who they should contact to find that out?
There's a generic hotline there. It's like 1-800-8662-Google in the United States. In Canada, other countries you'll have to look up the number because I don't know it off the top of my head. You call WordStream. Like we have a managed service team that works closely with Google, and we set up these types of campaigns on behalf of customers.
Cool. That's really helpful. Thanks.